A dacoit, an archaeologist, and the secret Bateshwar temples. The Bateshwar group of temples in the village of Padavli, Morena district of Madhya Pradesh, has all the elements of an Indiana Jones movie. One of the largest temple complexes in India, it was built by the Gurjara Pratihara dynasty in the 8th and the 11th century post Gupta period. These 200 sandstone temples took about 300 to 400 years to complete. Though dedicated to Lord Shiva and Vishnu and Goddess Shakti, the main deity is Lord Shiva or Bhuteshwar. Therefore, these temples have been named Bateshwar. These temples are an interesting mix of different architectural styles and ideas. In the 13th century, whether it was destroyed by an earthquake or the Mughal invaders, it is not clear. But for the next 500 years, they were totally forgotten until they were discovered by the British archaeologist Alexander Cunningham in 1861. In the 1920s, the Bateshwar temples were taken over by the Archaeological Survey of India. The restoration work could not be done as the region was infested with dacoits. A gang of dacoits known as the Buggies, headed by Nirbhaya Singh Gurjar, had made these beautiful temples a secret hideout. Now surrounded by the dense forests and the Chambal ravines, this place was an ideal hideout for the outlaws. The Jahangir Mahal was built by the Bundela Rajput king Bir Singh Deo in the 17th century. He had built it in honor of the Mughal emperor Jahangir. Jahangir, or Prince Salim as he was earlier known, had been helped by Bir Singh Deo to ascend the throne. This is why there was a strong and a long friendship between them. So when later Jahangir visited Orcha, he stayed in the Jahangir Palace for a night. And this beautiful palace with 3 stories and 126 rooms is a must when you visit Orcha. It is built in red and yellow sandstone. As the guide walks you through the rooms of the palace and listening to the stories of the past, these stories come alive and you're transported in another era, an era of chivalry, of honor, of romance and bravery. So visiting the Jahangir Mahal is a must when you come to Orcha.
The Kalpa Vriksha is a wish-fulfilling divine tree in all the religions like Jainism, Hinduism and Buddhism. The Kalpa Vriksha originated in the Samudra Manthan, that is the churning of the ocean, along with Kamdhenu, the divine cow, and providing people with all the food that they needed. There are only 93 trees left in India, the guide told us, and 3 of them are found in Orcha. So we were very happy to see the Kalpavriksha tree in Orcha, and we prayed there under the tree, in the shade of the tree. And they say it's very good to also meditate under its shade. So the Kalpavriksha is a very, very beautiful tree. It's almost like a banyan tree, and you can see in the photographs. We also did a pradakshina, that is, we went round the tree and made our wishes said our wishes in our mind. The Lakshmi Narayan temple was built during the rule of Raja Bir Singh Deo. This temple is dedicated to Goddess Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth and prosperity. This structure of the temple is an interesting mix of both fort and temple architecture. Inside the temple, there are frescoes painted on the walls and on the ceilings, which showcase both the Mughal and the Bundelkhand art. There is also the life of Lord Krishna, which has been carved on inside the temple. There are also paintings on the First War of Independence of 1857. An interesting thing is that this temple is connected to the Ram Raja temple. There is a path which leads this temple to the Ram Raja temple. And another interesting thing is there is no idol inside the Lakshmi Narayan temple. One thing that you should not miss when seeing the Lakshmi Narayan temple is the Shunya Chidya painting. This is an interesting painting of a monstrous bird that captured elephants in its talons. In Orchha, we stayed in the Madhya Pradesh Tourism Hotel, the Sheesh Mahal. The Sheesh Mahal is a heritage hotel which is right next to the Jahangir Mahal and the Raja Mahal. We decided to indulge ourselves and stay here in grand luxury, so we occupied the Maharaja suite in the Sheesh Mahal, which is at a cost of 20,000 rupees per night. And we really felt it was worth it. We felt like queens belonging to the Bundelkhand era. The Sheesh Mahal also has another advantage is that it has great views of Orchha, and the light and sound show, which takes place at 7 o'clock in the evening, is right next to it. So all you have to do is step out of the Sheesh Mahal hotel and go and see the light and sound show. The Rajwa Mahal and the Jahangir Mahal are very close to it, so the next morning we just went for a walk, a guided tour, and saw the Raja Mahal and the Jahangir Mahal. The Sheesh Mahal has been built in 1763 by Raja Uday Singh, and it was believed to be a residence for the guests. The Chaturbhuj temple in Orchha literally means four arms, and it refers to the four arms of Lord Ram, who was an avatar of Lord Vishnu. The story is that in 1558, Madhukar Shah, who was the Bundelkhand Maharaja at that time, wanted to build a temple for Lord Krishna as he was the Krishna devotee. But his wife, the Queen Ganesh Kumari, was a Lord Ram devotee and wanted to build a temple for Lord Ram. Legend says that in her dream, the queen dreamt that Lord Ram appeared and he asked her to build a temple for him in Orchha. So she went to Ayodhya, the birthplace of Lord Ram, and searched for an idol. On getting the idol of Lord Ram, she proceeded on foot to reach Orchha only after a year. The king had built a Chaturbhuj temple, but it was not yet completed. So she placed the idol of Lord Ram in a sacred place in the kitchens of the Raja Rani Mahal. And on completion of the Chaturbhuj temple, the idol was tried to move. They tried to move it, but it would not budge. So the Chaturbhuj temple now has an idol of Lord Krishna, whereas the original idol of Lord Ram is still in the Raja Rani Mahal. This is the interesting story behind the Chaturbhuj temple. The Raja Mahal in Orchha looks a little plain from the outside, but from the inside you'd be pleasantly surprised. Inside the Mahal, it has some beautiful interiors. The ceiling has been painted to make it look like a Persian carpet. So you can see the influence of Persia and Turkish influence over here. The walls are brightly painted with murals on them, and they showcase a lot of paintings from the Indian mythology like the Krishna's Ras Leela or the... From Orchha, we proceeded to the town of Chanderi. While Chanderi saris and textiles are very famous and a must-buy, what I found equally famous and fabulous was the Chanderi fort itself. The Chanderi fort is on top of a hill and has some great views of the Chanderi town. We stayed inside the Chanderi fort in the Madhya Pradesh tourism hotel, the Kila Koti. The tariff here was about 10,000 rupees for a night, and at night we could also have dinner on the terrace with a lighted view of the entire town. Also important here is the light and sound show, which is shown in the night at about 7 o'clock and is in Hindi with a very interesting commentary and a history. The light and sound show at the Chanderi fort comes alive with all the past heroes and invaders, making it so alive on screen. I have been to many light and sound shows in India, like the Hyderabad one, the Golconda one, but the Chanderi fort is clearly my favorite. The next morning after breakfast, we walked through the many parts of the fort. We also had some good views and took some good photographs in the different parts of the fort. The Kuni Darwaza, where many lives were lost, is not to be missed. And another place that we visited here in Chanderi was the Jogeshwari Mandir. The Chausat Yogini temple is on a small hill and you need about 20 minutes to reach the top. There are proper steps and it's an easy climb. This temple was dedicated to 64 yoginis or Chausat Yogini. That is why it is named so. And their lord was Shiva. So that is why you find a Shivling in the center of the temple as well as multiple Shivlings around the entire structure. This temple was basically built for the students to learn astrology and mathematics. They supposedly also practiced some mysterious tantric practices here, like reviving the dead. It's a very interesting temple and very simple in design, very plain. The Indian Parliament is supposed to have been designed on the lines of this Chausat Yogini temple. I have seen a similar temple at Bedaghat in Jabalpur, and both are very similar in design. The Gad Padavli temple is also in the Morena district and it's very close to the Bateshwar temples and to Mitavli. This temple has a fort-like structure on the outside with two lions greeting you. This structure has been added much later, and the original temple is to be seen to be believed. It has intricate carvings all over. Not even an inch of stone has been left uncarved. This intricate carving on the beam and the ceiling of the temples leaves you so spellbound. Very fine craftsmanship. Scenes from the Indian epics like the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, the Puranas are depicted, like the scene of the Samudra Manthan, the Krishna Leela, wedding of Ganesh, the cosmic dance of Shiva. It's carved so intricately and beautifully, such fine craftsmanship that it gives a very 3D effect. Also, there are some erotic carvings that predate the Khajuraho temple carvings. Don't miss this temple for sure. This is not France, this is not Spain, this is not England, this is India. In Gwalior, we have the beautiful white Jai Vilas Palace, built in 1874 by Jiaji Rao Scindia at a staggering cost of rupees 1 crore in those times. which is now valued at 4,000 crores. This palace, built in neoclassical style, is a mix of local red sandstone, which has been painted white on the outside. It is still used as the private residence of the Scindia royal family, and a part of it has been converted as a private museum. You can buy the tickets here. For Indians, the ticket cost is rupees 300, but it is very much worth it to see the palace and the museum. It showcases also some elegant pieces of period furniture in rosewood. There are also beautiful antiques, paintings, both Indian and European paintings, portraits of their ancestors, embroidery, and arms and armor used by the royal family of Scindias. There is also a palanquin gifted by the Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II. The area of the palace is 1,24,771 square feet, and it has one of the largest darbar halls. This darbar hall has a silver dining train set which runs along the dining table, serving brandy and cigars around the table after dinner. Also, the Darbar Hall has two central chandeliers hung from the ceiling, each weighing 3.5 tons. And they say that 10 elephants were made to walk on the ceiling to test its strength, whether they could bear the weight of the chandeliers. The largest chandelier is in New York in the New York Museum. This is supposed to be the second largest.